Hey everyone, it is Friday, June 5th, and I am here to share with you, at viewers' request, an Aldi haul and a garden update, as well as some other information I think you'll be glad you learned. I know I was, and it might make a difference in how you shop in the next few weeks. So, without further ado, let's get into it.
It's Friday, June 5th, and I have not been in the grocery store for 6 weeks.
The cupboard is pretty darn bare, at least as far as my house goes. Ran out of cream. I had to drink my coffee black this morning. Anything you see in here, dairy-wise, has been in here probably at least a couple of months. And this is all the produce I have left. The peppers are from my garden. The carrots are from, I don't know, 3 months ago. And these same thing with these drying out lemons and limes. And I mean, that is all the produce I have in my house, with the exception of some little new potatoes out there in the pantry that grew in my garden. So it was time.
Aldi is my go-to for produce and dairy, so that's where I headed.
The best way to stick to a no-spin challenge that I've been on is to stay out of the stores completely. At least for me, that's the ball game. And I have not been in Aldi for 6 weeks, so I'm curious to see what they've got in here price-wise, because with all the craziness going on in the world, you never know what you're going to see, right? I came here today strictly really for produce and a couple of dairy items. That's all I'm planning to buy. First item that I saw on their flyer that I had to get were these $1.99 blueberries. This is the lowest price I have seen for blueberries in my area in the last 2 years. So to me, that's a stock up price. Not a fantastic sale price on the citrus, but I've heard it might be hard to get, and I want to stock up. To show everyone, all these standard chicken breasts are $2.19 a pound, which is the lowest I've seen in a long time. We do have the good stuff on clearance here, but only 30% off. And when you look at the expiration date, it's tomorrow. I've always seen at least a 50% off sticker when it is only a day away from expiring. $6.79 for a whole chicken, but in my opinion, if you belong to Costco or Sam's Club, you're better off buying one of their rotisserie chickens for $5. I think those are even bigger than these, and they taste better. And of course, I can't hit Aldi without checking out the finds aisle. Now, I have had my eye on the Aldi flyer that comes in my email each week. And honestly, thank goodness they haven't had anything that I really was tempted by. That way I was able to stay out of the store. To me, it's a lot of doodaddy type stuff, a want, not a need. I usually only pull the trigger if it's something that either I really haven't seen before, or something big like this storage bin for out on the patio. You could even turn that into a garden bed if you wanted to. These little cat teepees are pretty neat. I've got one. I've had it for, gosh, at least 5 years. Cats love it. They have these scratch houses. Kitties love those too. And again, a lot of little doodaddy stuff. If you're going to get together for 4th of July and have people over, these might be fun. And at $6.99, I think that's a really great deal. And of course, you could reuse them every year. I love the bows and I love the stars. Those are really my favorite out of everything I've seen here today. But again, a want, not a need. Yeah, but if you're having to get together, yeah, it's fun, right? Fairy lights around those, you'd be in. I did see in their flyer that they had these Father's Day mugs, and I thought those were kind of nice. Guys are so hard to buy for, or is it just me? And not a bad price, $8.99. These foam floor tiles that you'd put in a playroom or a gym, I've never seen them in neutrals. Like, they're usually black or purple. So that might be something someone's in the market for. So back to the regular food aisles. I have to point out to everyone here that these Aldi floor coolers seem exceptionally empty to me. But it's worth noting, since we're all seeing those articles week after week about potential food scarcity on the horizon, I just wanted to share with you what I am seeing here. I don't mean to fearmonger, but this is how we help each other know what's going on in the world, right? These coolers are never, ever this low on stock in my Aldi, unless it's right after a big holiday or we've had like a major hurricane come through that prevented trucks from doing their regular route. I will say that their regular upright freezers that they keep their standard food items in seemed well stocked. Very few holes here. This is very typical for my Aldi. So maybe they just are low on food finds. I don't know. But on a brighter note, I went across the parking lot and was able to get gas for $3.65 instead of $4.59. Now I'm headed into Walmart to do a quick return. This will be worth about $25 back in my pocket. And I bought these two items, a little t-shirt and some face sunscreen in the middle of March, but then I had a car wreck and managed to not get the return done. So today is the day. So I'm back from Aldi, and before I share that haul with you guys, I wanted to tell you about a podcast that I listened to on my way home from work today, and it really kind of opened my eyes in a way that these articles on possible food shortages haven't quite done for me. And this guy, Ben Minkelhoff, was interviewed by the Farm Journal, and he is an insurance agent of farmers in the Midwest. So he's very much in the know on what is going on with farmers, their crops, and the general food supply that comes out of that area of the United States. And I will share that clip with you now.
Out in the Western Plains. We have Ben Rand, a crop insurance agent, but he's also with Blue Line Futures. Ben, when we talk about the drought and wildfires' impact on producers in the plains, how widespread is this?
This is almost something that's hard to put a border on. It's so large. The easiest measurement that a lot of people have asked me about is about the fires and how many acres were destroyed by the fires in Nebraska. And we had over 1 million acres just in wildfires that are gone of grassland pasture. But the overall drought condition is way larger than that. I mean, you can track it all the way down to southern Colorado, well up into Choteau, Montana. Have clients in central Montana that have irrigation system failures up there as well. So the scope of this thing is so large and so big. It's well outside my draw, and I have never, in this agency, we've never dealt with something of this magnitude before. It's really unprecedented.
Ben, how early did you start hearing from farmers that they were worried about even having a winter wheat crop to harvest this year?
So the very first set of problems that was identified wasn't actually the wheat; it was sugar beets, and I would say that was in February. Wheat has 9 lives. That's the typical nomenclature everybody says, and they always think the wheat's going to come out of it. So nobody really started to worry about wheat until probably mid-April. And so the wheat showed up probably in April, but the early signs that we were going to have water issues, I'm going to say were mid-Feb probably, and it was regarding irrigated sugar beets.
So in states like Nebraska, Kansas, Colorado, Montana, how dire is the wheat crop? I mean, do you think this crop could be cut in half? Is it more severe than that?
Nationally, I don't want to say it'll be cut in half nationally. I don't have much insured east of central Kansas or central Nebraska. I got a few clients over in the eastern Corn Belt, but eastern Kansas will always produce some pretty good wheat. So I'm not going to speak nationally, but I will tell you, in the West here, I'm seeing appraisals that are so dismal. The vast majority of stuff is under 2.5 bushel. And what is out there is not mechanically harvestable. The heads are just too low. So it's such a odd situation to have. Obviously, the continuous crop wheat's in worse shape than the summer fallow. But the summer fallow stuff that was planted early is in very poor condition too. And I've talked to some other analysts. We kind of laugh about where is the good wheat? I drive 125,000 miles a year. I don't know. I can't show you a good wheat crop.
And you'll understand why I purchased a couple of things that I hadn't planned to on my Aldi run this afternoon. So let me spin you around and show you. I just had to do a little produce and dairy stock up, if you can call this little, because I was out of everything, you guys. So it was time. On Wednesday, I hit Publix to get a little more wet cat food. And I had seen couponing with Star, she's amazing, on her Publix hauls. And she pointed out that this Organic Valley Protein Plus was on a BOGO. This is $5.99 for, I don't know if you can even call this a half a gallon, bigger than a pint. And there was a coupon that she made available on her website that you could download from Organic Valley for a free carton of this type of milk. So, you guys, I got this milk for free. Free. Can't beat that. I normally don't buy milk, but I love that it says Protein Plus. whole ultra filtered, and I have a bunch of pudding mixes that I need to use up. So I figured now's the time. So now on to the Aldi haul. Cream. The butter, shockingly today, lowest price I've seen in 5 ever, $2.49 a pound. I know you guys, if you've been following me, you're like, what, blueberries? But hey, I made those blueberry bars and I was down to one little bag in my freezer, so it was time. And these at Aldi this week are $1.99, so that's a stock up price. And the rest of this is, standard prices. And I just needed everything. I did not have any of these items at all. I had used even all of my Bits and Bites onions. So we really needed a restock on that stuff. And I'm going to do my best to get through all of these without letting these shrink up. Oh, and for you guys that can't get cheap avocados, these were 55 cents. So also, you know how it is. This is why you stay out of the store, but they had this vanilla on clearance, $3.39 a bottle. And this is good stuff. So I bought two. The seasonings, those are all 99 cents a bottle on these little guys. And then this is just a flavor I've never heard of before in a dry blend. So I'm going to try that. It was $1.69. And all of this came to $70.84 plus a Publix free. Now let me show you the extra stock up items that I bought today that weren't produce or dairy because of that heads up that I got from the podcast. Okay, pretty self-explanatory on what this is, but let me just say I got 4 bags of flour and one ended up in my flour jar over there. And I buy this canned chicken for my cats instead of cat food. And crazily enough, out of all of the various brands of canned chicken breast, the Aldi brand has the lowest sodium content. So I go through about 1.5 cans a week. There are 12 cans here, or these are $2.59 a can now. Right now, I am trying to do a 3-month supply of food, whether it's for me or my cats. That way I don't feel overwhelmed if things come to fruition and I am moving. I don't want to have 6 months plus supply of anything on hand. I don't mind moving, let's say, a month's worth of groceries and cat food because, when I get where I'm going, I'll need food. A battery for my little coffee whisk, you know how it is, they wear down. And I realized I only had 3 double A's left in the house and only 5 triple A's left in the house. Hurricane season is upon us here in South Florida, and you don't want to be low on batteries during hurricane season because I have lots of little LED lamps and whatnot in case we don't have power, but they all take batteries. So here we go. Now let's head out to the garden. I'll give you just a quick little update because viewers have been asking me about it. And sadly, I don't have much of a garden going this year. I thought I was getting a little progress in, but all of a sudden, Mother Nature. Last week we had 3-4 inches of rain within about 3 days, which is kind of common for Florida, and we really needed the rain. And I don't think it was the rain itself in the sense of the water volume causing the problem, but maybe there was something in the rain that wasn't good for my garden because it went from doing really well to just dying off. So let me show you what I've still got left and we'll see how it works out. I had giant broccoli bushes growing here and they were doing so great till suddenly they weren't, but I knew those were coming to an end because of the heat. But whatever wound things up in my garden in general also did a number on the broccoli plants. So I pulled all those last weekend. I'm trying to grow French green beans. I planted 12 seeds. Only one has made it. Others had come up there in the back and they were looking like, they were coming along until after the rains and suddenly they weren't. Same thing with these zucchini plants. They were really taken off. I had a bunch of females finally show up only for whatever devastated my garden last week to just say, nope, you're not going to have any zucchini. So I really don't think these are going to bounce back is my guess. I'm just going to have to pull those. Same thing over here. This guy's the healthiest one of the bunch, but I don't know. Of course, sweet potatoes, those are all voluntary. These are a couple of pepper plants that just aren't doing anything. But the tomatoes, you guys, I definitely have some good footage from last week on that because I plugged it into a video. I'll put that up here. But I had 2 big plants here that just died. They went from being green and full and lush to dead in the space of 48 hours. This one looks like it may not make it either. These were all volunteers, so at least I didn't pay for them. But I mean, just when I was really going to get a ton of cherry tomatoes, I've only had maybe 2 rounds so far. And I was thinking, gosh, I don't know what I'm going to do with all these tomatoes. I guess I'll take some to work, only to have the devastation set in. This is a pumpkin, I think, that just, again, it's not doing anything. And this was, as I've said a couple of times, my fabulous little sweet cherry tomato plant that I've managed to get, I don't know, maybe 30 cherries off. I had a ton of cherries on all of these. And thank goodness I had done some harvesting. And then suddenly there weren't any cherries on there either, in addition to things suddenly dying. So I don't know. Go figure. I'm probably not the only backyard gardener that's not sure what happened. So my one pepper plant that has been producing some stuff is, I don't know. I'm not sure if it's a watering problem or a calcium uptake problem, but it looked like it was really going to go crazy for me this year. It had lots of peppers on, but now it's getting to that point where I think I may not get much more out of it. We'll see, but hey, at least I have a few, right? I'll take what I can get. My little potato farm got all kinds of weeds, a couple of potato plants in there I need to pull. These, I'm going to let those keep going for another week or two, see if I can get something out of those. And then I'll replant a couple that have sprouted. Of course, I've always got a little kale. That one was in the sun, didn't like it, so I moved him. And more kale. More kale. Enough to keep me in salad anyway. And that's about it for veggies. And all of these marigolds, mums, I'm not sure what I got going here, mums, I guess. Those all grew back from last year. I was shocked. Same thing with the sweet potatoes. I didn't plant anything. It all came up on its own. Looking a little worse for the wear now, but, you know, it's hot. So my rosemary's looking a little scraggly as well. And flowers, these all got killed off by the frost that we had mid-February and have come back on their own. And I am so thankful because this is a vining vinca. It was so beautiful last year. Just made my heart sing with joy every time I looked at it. And I've been trying to find vining vinca, and I can't find it anywhere. I think because of that frost, we've really not had much in the greenhouses. Anyway, these flowers are all kind of hanging in. And that's my garden update, guys.
Well, I hope you found that information from Ben Minkelhoff helpful and not fearful. We all just need to be as well informed as we can be. That's the name of the game these days, right? And speaking of which, be sure and tune in a few days. I will be doing my next freezer game challenge, which is a cook-off. It's me against the AI to see who can come up with the most creative dishes on a budget. And if you missed my prior freezer game and my freezer challenge videos, you can click this video right here to catch up. I'll see you over there. Bye.